Hi gang, this is Mike G from Mr. GTV and MrMikeGarner.com. Come with me on a journey. It's a short presentation just to basically say that if you've been looking at all the conspiracies ever since this situation in the world started, what we've got now is confirmation that most of those conspiracies have actually transpired. They've come into reality. Pretty much everything that was said, that was denied by the debunkers, the fact checkers and the politicians who were saying, oh, it's not going to be this extreme, we're not going to have passports, we won't be chipping people, there'll be no adverse reactions, this is just 2 weeks to flatten the curve, and then it just went on and on and on and on and on and on and on. 2 years later on, we live in Groundhog Day, and it's getting worse, isn't it? Under cover of all these government leaked documents and 10 Downing Street parties and stuff going on that it just makes you want to laugh if it wasn't so serious all over the world. We've got dictators doing things in what are supposed to be democratic countries that are a repeat of history going back to 1943, 1945, and I think you know what I'm talking about. So what do we do with it? Well, I'm going to my chess club now. I'm going to play chess, and earlier today I had a swim, and I'm lucky I've got a pool, but you could possibly go to the swimming pool locally, or you could go for a walk, or you could go on the beach, or you could go up into the hills, or you could get yourself out into nature, or you could go and play the guitar, learn the guitar, read a book, watch a film, play with your kids, learn a skill, bake a cake. I mean, I could list 1,000,001 things for you to do to fill your head with more positive stuff than all this shit that's going on in the world. I always say that when the world is shit, you've got to shift. If shit happens in your life, when shit hits the fan, you've got to shift. Now's the time to shift, and to help those that are near and dear to you shift also, because trust me, we've only just started with the shit. Most of the conspiracy theories are talking about, I've got to be careful the words you use here, but what's going to happen if we continue to have one of these every 3 or 6 months, depending on these computer modelers who are coming up with all these variants. Never in any medical history have we reacted, or in my opinion overreacted, to something that is disputable. Let's just put it like that. I've posted on my Michael Garner Facebook page the figures, and all you have to do is go on the government sites or the NHS sites, not listen to the commentators, not listen to the celebrities who are paid, not listen to people who come from these various spurious think tanks, not listen to these non-elected globalists or these millionaires, because they have their own agenda. And again, that falls into conspiracy theories, but do your research. The World Health Organization, the World Economic Forum, all these global alliances, NATO, Trilateral Commission, they're all, and an organisation called Common Purpose, which is all part of Agenda 21. And if these words I'm using and these organisations that I'm talking about, if you don't know about it, then you're not informed. And with the greatest of respect, it's no wonder that people are questioning what's going on, when actually it's very clear if you're not informed. And you're not going to get your information from the British Bullshit Corporation, and you're not going to get it from the mainstream media, and you're possibly not going to get it from some individuals on Facebook or the other social media platforms, because there's as much bullshit on those as there is in the mainstream. But what I'm saying is get the real facts, not the second-hand facts. Don't even get my facts, because we've got challenging times ahead. We're going to see a lot more sad things going on, and there's sad things going on at the moment that are being covered up. And what's going to happen is people are going to be dropping like flies, and they're going to blame it. Well, they're going to point the finger in the wrong direction, I'll just say that. It's a bit like a magician's sleight of hand. There's sleight of hand going on while they're making you look over here. There's things going on over there. We're having our human rights eroded. There's acts of parliament now going through government that are going to remove most of your human rights. No right to protest, no right to say this, no right to say that. They'll be able to deplatform you, take away your voice, remove your ability to communicate with anybody, and it will become an act of terrorism, because that's what's going through the courts at the moment. That's what Boris Johnson has brought in, and now he's gone on his happy Christmas holidays. They've closed Parliament. So under the legislation that he brought in while we were all distracted by his Downing Street parties and his babies, these are his legitimate babies, because he's got lots of illegitimate babies, if you really know about the guy. And if you really know about the family, the Johnsons and Stanley Johnson and his agenda and the stuff that he's been writing as an author for decades, but you probably don't, but Google that, Stanley Johnson, a book that he wrote called The Virus. You couldn't make it up, but it's true. You can get it on Amazon now, which tells this whole story, as do the Georgia tablets in California, that state categorically what this global agenda is all about. But again, people say, oh, you're a conspiracist. No, they're facts. Absolute facts. But I'm not so much bothered about this, because it's a matter in the world, and I'm not about the world. I'm about metaphysics. I'm about what's beyond physics, what's beyond the world, that we are in the world but we're not of the world, that we can use our minds to overcome the world, that we can shift from the physical into the metaphysical, where miracles take place, healing takes place, fun and magic takes place, and you can rise above all this shit. And that's what I'm saying to you on this journey. Rise above all this shit, because trust me, there's lots more to come. They've only just got started, and they're training you wearing these things, queuing up for these things, and they are queuing up for these things like lemmings at the moment. No disrespect, but these governments are like the Pied Piper, and everybody's dancing to their tune and following them blindly, in my opinion, because they've not done the research. Do the research. If you don't know what I'm talking about, then we need a chat. I'm here for that. And I'm not saying believe me, I'm not going to say I'm right. What I'm saying is look at the facts, look at the figures. And I posted something on my Michael Garner Facebook page today regarding, we're told that the NHS is overwhelmed, but the NHS actual figures say there's only 5% of people, 5% in hospital beds because of this situation that's going on in the world, and I'm hesitant to use the words 5%, which means there's 95% available for all the people that are being turned away, ignored, and there's going to be a pandemic of the ignored. Mental health, cancer treatments, hip operations, mammograms, smear tests, dentistry. People who've got, the elderly, who have been written off maternity, people who are not allowed to have what they're entitled to when it's needed, and partners being turned away at births, family being turned away when people are end of life. Cruel, evil, in my opinion, strong word, satanic. There is a global cult There's a shift going on. It's called the Great Reset. It's not a conspiracy. Surely by now you can see what is plainly obvious. None of this makes sense, and it will never make sense if you're a decent person, because you're dealing with people who aren't decent. The world at the moment is being run by narcissistic psychopaths who have an agenda. And it's not a conspiracy. All you need to do is read the minutes of their think tank meetings. Davos, World Economic Forum, Trilateral Commission. Everything that's happening now has been planned since before the millennium, and it's unfolding with a process called lockstep, and you can Google that as well. And when you Google lockstep maybe 6 months ago, it wasn't fact checked. Now most of lockstep isn't available, and it's been fact checked and debunked and called a hoax. But the fact checkers are a hoax. We know because Facebook was took to court, and it was admitted in court, and you can Google this, that Zuckerberg admitted, he had to admit because it was truthful, that the fact checkers are just right-winged or extreme left-wing, politically biased opinion shifters. It's social engineering. Nobody's fact checking them, because the facts are the facts. But facts that don't suit the agenda are being deleted, and people who are honest, the honest doctors, the honest politicians, the honest experts are losing their jobs, and they're being silenced. And only anybody that's talking in a way that forwards the agenda by these globalists, by this occult organisation, are being allowed to have a voice. Now, do with that what you want. Call me crazy, but I'm quite happy to wear my tinfoil hat. I'm quite comfortable with that, because it's the truth. And I think if you just did your research and checked it all out, well, I'm not trying to say I'm right, but make your own mind up. I'd really prefer to be wrong, because I don't like this world. It's possibly because I don't like this world, and I probably never really liked this world, that I went into doing things that are out of this world, knowing that I was only here for maybe 50, 60, 70, 80 years. Some people don't even get that, God bless them. But we go back to eternity, for eternity, and I'm not going to get attached to this shit. I'm going to shift, so that when it's my time to leave this mortal coil, I leave it knowing that my incarnation was of value, that I didn't comply, that I didn't go along to get along, that I wasn't one of the silent majority, that I stood up for what was right and got involved in the spiritual fight. And if you want to know more about that, call me for a chat. Be powerful, enjoy your mind, have a wonderful day, shift from all this shit. And as I say, if you want to chat, I'm here for that. God bless.